We should use performance assessment in some enhanced ways. So that means on the first hand, it has to do with producing reliable measures out of performance assessments. So performance assessments are very closely in very close relation to what teachers normally do in their classes, and it is to observe what students can do regarding certain competencies and how they perform. The other way I think performance assessments use should be enhanced is by involving teachers in the use of performance assessment and of standardized performance assessments also. So the point there is that normal external evaluations are produced by a group coming from outside, which will be important, but that will apply some tools that are barely explained to teachers, and then teachers get back from that evaluation a result that is normally a score, perhaps with some interpretation of it, but that score is a tremendous simplification of all the complexity of learning. So that is an information that by itself is of little use, but on top of it you have a huge problem because teachers do not have a clear understanding of how it was produced. They know some questions were applied, some students answered some items, normally multiple choice items, and then a score was produced. But it is very hard for them to interpret what is happening. So what I believe that can really help a lot is to have teachers involved in the process of application of the assessments, of these performance assessments. What does it mean? It means that we have to train teachers to know the rubric, to know the tasks, so that they can themselves apply the assessment. If they understand what are the things that have to be observed and how they have to be looked at, this will be very useful for them to assess, to have formative assessment in the courses, and to give useful feedback to students about what are the key things that they have to change, that they have to improve. Most external assessments are done using exclusively multiple choice items. Some assessments incorporate some open-ended questions, but yes, most of them use multiple choice items, or at least the biggest part of the assessments, of the external assessments, is done using multiple choice items, and this is done so because it is cheap, because it is easy to score, to administer and score multiple choice items, and it is not costly. Moving to performance assessments to produce measures raises immediately a question of how expensive it is. How expensive it is to be able to observe a performance, to score it. And the trick is, if we involve teachers in doing so, teachers themselves can help apply the assessments. And so those costs of the people coding the performance in the rubric will become manageable, because it will be part of the teacher's obligation, normal obligations. It has to be taken into account, however, that in order to produce, the experience we have so far is that in order to produce reliable measures, comparable measures, you cannot have teachers assess their own students. So you must organize to have teachers go and assess the students of other teachers, normally moving them from one school to another. And in that way, you can recuperate out of the performance assessment a reliable measure. But also all the qualitative information that is in the rubric. And this is the information will go back to schools so teachers can understand what the assessment produced and what the assessment was in qualitative terms of the students, so they can think of strategies to improve the things that are to be improved.